So I was driving the new Frontier in downtown Toronto the other day, and they have a lot more people down there than we have here in Sudbury. And the one thing I can tell you is that everyone was staring at this thing. I'm Justin Pritchard for Driving.ca. This is the 2022 Nissan Frontier, and in this video,
so let's meet the machine on your screen. 2022 Nissan Frontier Pro-4X or Pro-4X. This is the top of 7 versions of the new for 2022 Frontier, which include King Cab and Crew Cab models, with both 5 and 6 foot bed lengths depending on the model you select. In this video, I'll be using this truck to show you around the trails and back roads of Northern Ontario and giving you my key impressions along the way. This tester is fully loaded and features specialized equipment and a specialized suspension package for off-road performance that I'll literally be climbing beneath to show you in a moment. And this most trail-ready version of the new Frontier comes with a starting ask of $47,498 and an extra $2,000 worth of leather seating, punchy Fender audio system, and unique trimmings. Squeaks the machine on your screen in at a tick under $50,000, including the $300 charge for this tactical green paint.
all right, so a quick look under the hood for you.
This 3.8-liter direct injection V6 with 310 horsepower and 281 pounds of torque first came to market in the last generation Frontier for model year 2020, when it replaced the 4-liter V6 they'd been using for the 16 years prior. The smaller 3.8 only shares about 7% of its parts with the previous 4-liter version of this engine, and you get better mileage, more power, and the 9-speed automatic. 4-wheel drive is dial activated here. There's no auto mode, so you'll need to engage and disengage this yourself as conditions dictate. My tester's on a dedicated Continental winter tire, and with the standard electronic locking rear diff used in the Pro 4x models, that means better off-the-line traction than a conventional unlimited slip differential without the need to use 4-wheel drive. Or to put that simply, if you've got your winter tires on, you might be surprised at how well this 4-wheel drive does, even in 2-wheel drive, thanks to that upgraded rear end.
The very first thing I did with this truck was a 400-kilometer after-dark highway drive where I learned a few important things, so let's start there.
So I've done this nighttime drive from Toronto to Sudbury up Highway 69 about 400 times in nearly as many different vehicles over the years, and the Frontier delivers the two things that I often find to make that trip the most pleasant. First and foremost, very powerful headlights in the case of my tester with its LED-powered system, delivering the sort of lighting performance I expect from a big-dollar luxury crossover. From the driver's seat, it's clean white light, tremendous peripheral illumination, great reach down the road to reflective sign surfaces, and high beams so powerful you've actually gotta mind the glare as you pass large reflective signs in some settings. Elsewhere, highway noise levels are lower than I expected, even on winter tires. It's fairly quiet and laid back in here. This makes it easy to relax and decompress, socialize, or make a phone call without having to yell, and without having to strain to hear. Again, a more easygoing highway drive if you'll use your truck as a place to unwind. And if you'll use it as a listening space, the Fender audio system recreates your tunes with plenty of punch. And while you blast some old favorites and take in the very brightly illuminated view of the forward scenery from your tall and commanding driving position, I think you'll find this is a nighttime drive that energizes you, not one that wears you down. I did find my first complaint of the Frontier on this initial highway drive as well, and it involves the suspension, which I'll be detailing for you very shortly, so more on that soon. I don't usually comment on styling too much because that's strongly a matter of opinion, and I tend to just let you make your own judgments while my footage does the talking. But let me just draw your attention to a few things that me and my cameras loved about the Frontier while shooting it. First, this mug, and more broadly, its overall lighting signature. There's an attention-grabbing stare to this face, and I like that they've made it look blocky and assertive without puffing it up too much. It's a strong identity conveyed in the shapes, accentuated by the LED lighting, and again, finished in tactical green, it's a real head-turner. And I love how you've got the visible skid plates and tow hooks down below as well. Coming down the road, this thing just looks ready. And inside, it's a big touch screen, stitched leather, glossy accents, chunky shapes, and these leather seats embossed with the honeycomb grid pattern to keep your eyes and fingertips busy on closer inspection. I like this sort of rugged, toughened up nod to quilted leather, which is also popular this year.
All right, so let's take a closer look at what's going on inside of here. First thing we're looking for is the engine start button, which is usually somewhere around here, but that's the four-wheel drive. It's not down there. Oh, wait a second. It's right here. It's kind of hidden behind the steering wheel. You can see that's quite a reach, and that from where I'm sitting, it's obscured by the steering wheel, unless you happen to look right through that little opening there. Sporty set of instruments here, like that red coloring, and we've got a fully customizable center digital display there with analog dials on either side. And I really like this infographic here that Nissan uses. It makes it easy to keep your eyes on which of the safety systems are on, which ones are engaged. Let's first-time drivers that are maybe getting used to these features for the first time keep track of them more easily and turn them on and off to taste as they learn how the systems work. Set our radar cruise following distance here with this button, and everything else can be toggled on and off just by pressing this button down here. So I've got my smartphone plugged in here to USB-C. That means that I've got Android Auto popping up here automatically. All you do is plug this in, one-time setup procedure, very, very simple. And this has been working flawlessly and pretty responsive for me on my test drive. I haven't had to swear at this once. Simple, logical climate control layout here. These are easy to work with your gloves on if you've got them. Simple push buttons, hard buttons for everything, dials right where you expect it. Nissan does a good job of sort of keeping these controls organized and logically placed. That means you're never spending much time finding the feature or function that you're looking for in here. And diff lock down here on the other side by pressing that button, and it's referenced up in the instrument cluster if you need it. So plenty of at-hand storage. You've got some room up here in this bin for your phone, your cords, wallet, smaller items, and so on. We've got two proper cup holders here. That's the wireless charging pad for your phone. You can lay your phone on there and have it charge up if your phone's compatible. This nice deep center console in behind that with more charging ports inside. We've got a little door. We've got a little door handle storage bin here. That's good for your coffee change and whatnot. A cup holder down there, and this sort of standard slot here. So no problem keeping your smaller items organized and secure on the go. Bonus points, actually, the hazard lights right there in the center of the dashboard where they belong, because of course you should be able to reach out and turn these on at a moment's notice without even looking. And if you're like me, this is exactly where you're going to go looking for them. So here's a look at the rear seats. The bottoms flip up, the seat backs flip down. It's a split folding design. Got some storage bins underneath. Probably a flat enough rear floor for your dog if he likes to hang out back there. And this gives you a little bit of extra flexibility when you're hauling different combinations of people and gear. All right, so let's put everything together and answer my favorite question: how does it drive?
Here's the electronic locking rear differential, which can mechanically bind the rear wheels together for a high traction bite on slippery surfaces. And here are the Bilstein off-road shocks designed for added confidence, toughness, and body motion control in severe use. There are also underbody skid plates to protect vital organs from impacts with the surface beneath. That's all bolted to a highly revised structure, complete with new body mounts, a new steering system, new suspension mounting provisions, class-exclusive urethane jounce bumpers, enlarged stabilizer bars, and more. So basically everything to do with how the truck feels, responds, steers, reacts, and otherwise conducts itself has been improved or optimized by way of new and updated hardware. It's a total down-to-the-bones renovation of the drive. On my watch, grins came most consistently when driving the Frontier down badly maintained back roads, trails, or otherwise covering rough terrain, which also includes most of the actual roads in Sudbury, Ontario, where I live. In that setting, the specialized suspension system does its best work, and the more punishing the terrain, I think the more value shoppers will find in this setup. If you're doing a lot of driving on trails and back roads, you'll find a strong return on your investment. The overwhelming sensation here is comfortable toughness, even over potholes, dips, bumps, ruts, whatever. There's rarely much negative feedback sent into the cabin. The ride feels pure truck, jouncy and jiggly and even abrupt at times, but all the while it's quiet, well controlled, and feels very durable. There's virtually no suspension noise creeping in from underneath, everything feels solid and tough, and that's exactly what many pickup shoppers want. So consider this a suspension that feels the best when you're working it hard. The more punishing the terrain, the more value you'll find. It's meant to inspire confidence and deliver a high-end feel. In one situation while filming, camera guy James advised that I'd sent the front of the truck a little airborne. From on board, I didn't feel a thing. So in a nutshell, if you'll regularly work or even punish your truck's suspension, this setup feels well suited to the task. I doubt pothole season would be much of a match for this suspension either. If you're coming here from an off-road ready pickup, I think you'll feel right at home, and if not, I think you'll love the toughness that shines through, even if the around-town ride can be a little busy and jiggly at times. And that's the root of my main gripe about this truck. Certain bumps at higher speeds can cause a dramatic reaction from the suspension, and the sharpest and most sudden of those bumps, encountered at highway speeds, can send that rear end for a bit of a dance around behind you, which can be startling. I only encountered this once on my 1,500 kilometer test drive, but the point is to remember that this machine drives like a truck through and through. Elsewhere, the new V6 is punchy and eager provided you aren't shy with the revs. This one lacks the low-end torque hit that you'll find in turbocharged competitors, but the 9-speed automatic and 310 horsepower tend to work well together. There's minimal hesitation, and a smooth and generous stream of power is available pretty much whenever your foot is on the pedal. A note for you on the steering, it is new and retuned, but it is still heavy and lazy. In low-speed situations, working the wheel requires a little more muscle than some drivers will like, and the turning circle is still pretty big, meaning that some drivers will find maneuvering in tight quarters to be a bit more labor-intensive than they're used to. This truck feels the biggest when you're trying to get into a parking space.
So those are my key impressions on the 2022 Nissan Frontier for you. Hit that like button down below if you learned something new. My name's Justin Pritchard for Driving.ca, and until next time, take care and drive safe.